I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending July the 5th, where I trust all you guys had a great 4th of July celebration. We sure had one here in Canyon, Texas. They have a great celebration for 4th of July, and my family was involved in that and attended it and saw on TV and heard that Washington, D.C. had a great celebration, and the Donald there, he enjoyed it too, and even though it was partly military and folks disagreed with it, I think it brought out a lot of patriotism and turned out to be a pretty good show. But I think as we were talking about the things that were going on, and it's such a great time to celebrate this greatest country in the world that we live in, I got to thinking about that, and I think I figured out how we can solve this immigration problem down on the southern border. And what we'll do is we'll do it just like a crowded bar, where it gets to the point where we're full, and like when the bar's full, we have one in, one out. And I think for every immigrant that's trying to get in, that's been walking for 4 months to try to get up here and maybe make his life better, we'll let him in, and then some spoiled ingrate that won't stand for our national anthem, we'll send them out, and we'll just do that. And I think we'll have make America even greater if we do that. But it seems like a kind of a good idea for me. One in, one out. Somebody that wants to be here, fighting to get here, risking their life to get here, and then we got people in here that don't appreciate what they have. But I'll quit talking about that. Let's talk about the markets. Did we find a bottom? A lot of your market analysts believe that we have established a bottom here in the last couple of weeks. On cash fat cattle at $1.08, which we had a couple of weeks ago, that may be the bottom that we see for the remainder of the year. I'm not completely confident in that. I think that those big placements maybe in April will still balloon. Right now we've gotten to the point where in the north central feedlots and northern plains, they're short of cattle, market ready cattle right now. And we thought that we would be building on bigger supplies, but you remember all the hell they were going through whenever cattle that would be done right now would have been put in the feedlot, and there was just no way to get those in there. We might run up on a little bit later, more towards the tail end of summer and into early fall, we may run into some heavier supplies of cattle, because we know we had a lot of placements in there right after all that mess kind of was starting to get a little bit better. But and I just don't have a whole lot of confidence in the little bit of leverage we have in your cash fat cattle trade, and anytime we're steady or gain a dollar, it's just out of the kindness of the packers' hearts, because they could basically make the market to whatever they want. They've got this trade completely surrounded. But the board is coming around. Most of these market analysts, these technical analysts, they think that looking at all the signals as far as the charts go and everything, that we've seen significant signs that we've bottomed out. And if we've bottomed out on the board and we're going to start making tracks now, then your cash market will follow right along. But you know, talking about how tight those numbers are in the northern plains, they're not having enough cattle in those Nebraska and Iowa feedlots and over in the edge of Wyoming and South Dakota to fill all the packer needs up in the north. So they're buying cattle at a discount in the southern plains and Kansas and places, and trucking them $3 or $4 a hundred up there to get those cattle killed and fill those slots that they have in the northern areas and for your packers up there. And that is kind of what's bringing this market around a little bit. And it did kind of come around, even though it was mostly steady last week, still kind of coming around. But we've got a lot of things happening with our corn crop. And right now they're out there doing another estimate of what the crop's going to be like out there. They don't usually do it in early July, mostly early June, but in early June we still had a lot of flood waters, and some farmers didn't even have their crop in yet, so they're doing this short day stuff. But you know, I spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks in the Midwest there, and I sure know, and parts of Kansas and parts of Missouri and around it looks pretty good out there, guys. And that corn was tasseled out there in central Missouri. Once you get to the tasseling point, the guesswork's pretty much out of that corn crop. It's basically made from there on. You just have to get an idea of how many acres, and that's kind of what they're looking at. Now, there's a lot of flooded places out there, but I'll guarantee you there's been a lot more crop failures in a dry year than there is in a year that's too wet. So it might surprise you whenever we finally get a really good hold on what is out there for your corn crop. It likely won't look near as good as it did on that last report that surprised everybody, but it likely won't be near as bad as what everybody was guessing when your grains really started going up. But let's talk about your board for last week, which was a holiday week, kind of a slow week around. August live cattle futures, Monday was down a quarter, Tuesday was unchanged, Wednesday up $1.35, Thursday was the 4th of July, and Friday up $1.55, with your August live cattle futures ending at 107 even. Always feel like whenever it lands on even money right there, that's kind of a signal too, but up $2.65 for the week. We got rid of June, which was a kind of a good thing. October 108.07. So that's our new month out front there to look at. But that 107, we dipped down there, in that 103, 104 range there for a little bit with August live cattle. But seems like maybe it does have a little steam under it. And if we keep gaining ground from here and have a good week on the board, we should maybe have established our lows for fat cattle and on the board. August feeder cattle, Monday was up 17 cents, Tuesday up $1.35, Wednesday down $1.80, Thursday a holiday, and Friday up $2.25, with your August feeder cattle contract settling the week at 138.82, up $1.97 for the week. September ended at 138.70, up $2 even. So that was a good week really on holiday week for the board. Your corn ended the week at 442.5, up around 12 cents. Your beans lost about 29 cents, ending the week at 894.5. But let's look at your fat cattle trade last week, and with your 4th of July landed on a Thursday, it was kind of messed up. Didn't have hardly anything going on Monday and Tuesday last week in your fat cattle arena. Wednesday, they did jump out there and buy several cattle, and most of your trade in the Southern Plains was steady at 109. However, notably and very, very important, late in the trading on Wednesday before 4th of July, they did have some 110 trades, some reports of 110. Not sure how much out there, but that is a strong, strong signal right there. If you guys getting $1.10, and then Friday it was very, very quiet after 4th of July. So we'll kind of find out this week if we can keep a fire built under this thing. Northern Plains trading at a premium because they're so short of market-ready cattle, and they were sure a couple of bucks higher, even though not a lot of live trade there. But from 112 to 113.50 where most of your live trade was in the Northern Plains, and then $180 dressed. That was the bulk of your sales, and that was basically steady too with what we'd seen the week before. But box beef cutout values, they say they're going down. It's really just the select going down, and no more select than we have right now. It's not bad. Your choice is holding up there good. We're getting into the part of the summer where it's damn near too hot to be grilling, and so we should see your choice select spread come together a little bit, but choice is holding up there really well with choice cuts. Your average trade for last week at $219.28. That was off 27 cents is all from the average from the previous week. Select cuts at $195.45, down $2.51. So that's a choice select spread of $23.83 on a light holiday movement of 540 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter for the week, of course, it was curbed too because of the holiday, but 573,000 compares with a year ago's holiday week at 570. So we're keeping up almost every week now. We have a bigger slaughter than we did a year ago, same week, and we've got great demand for export, domestic, everything. Despite everything that's going on, as long as we've got good demand for this beef that we're producing. We're in pretty good shape. Your weights were up a little bit. That kind of lets us know that we've gone, we're getting back into some cattle there, and the storms and everything that pulled those cattle down a little bit. We're starting to get past those, and so we're coming up with a little bit on your actual slaughter, which is 2 weeks delayed. Your average dress steer weight was 854 pounds. Your latest report to come out, that was up 5 pounds, but still 4 pounds lighter than below last week, and actually 4 pounds lighter than last year and 6 pounds lighter than the 5-year average. So our carcass weights aren't as big, and it doesn't sound like a lot, 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds, but it does whenever you're killing 600,000 plus. So that makes up quite a bit and helps with our numbers problem there. But let's talk about some things that are going on. Last week, you remember I told you I was in Quapaw, Oklahoma there for the Big Bang Primetime Livestock Video, subsidiary of Joplin Regional Stockyards. Got to see a lot of Feeder Flash fans there. Saw a lot of people I haven't seen for a while. Had a really good time visiting with them. It was an active market there. I wouldn't call it a runaway. I think if we would have had it maybe Friday, of course, who knows, it might have been a little bit better after we saw that strong fat cattle trade that was mostly steady, but with some late reasons to be a little bit better, and then the board coming back there late in the week. But I think we should start the week pretty strong in our auctions this week. We got some big video auctions. But on that Big Bang sale there at Quapaw at Downstream Casino, still continuing to establish a price on these 8-weight feeder steers, your green yearlings coming off of your double stock pastures there from mid to late July here. But in that report there, they did have about 832 head in that big Joplin video there, primetime video, that were under the best quality medium and large number ones, weighing 8 to 850 for that late July delivery. And they were just pretty close to what they had established on that tall grass special that the Superior had, from 141 to 142. Now when you got into your heavy 8s, it did back off quite a bit, but that's kind of where your market is right now. On your 8-weight steers there is about 141, 142. Now we've got some reasons to be more bullish as we go into this week, and as long as the board doesn't hurt us opening up here on Monday, we should start out higher. I think your high volume auctions like Joplin and Oklahoma City should be higher, even though they were higher last week. But we've got some big videos coming in this week. Western Video Market's got their big 3-day Reno video starting here on Monday. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, July 8th through 10th. You go on to WVM Cattle, and you can watch the feed right there online, or you can get onto dvauction.com and you can watch it there online, or you can also go on to your satellite. That will be broadcasted on satellite TV. So that's going to be a big one. That's one that we push. We collect the online bids for Western Video Market. There'll be some excellent cattle come on there. Be a lot of great fall delivery calves on there. We'll be establishing the market kind of for those, especially in the western United States. And get on there. If nothing else, just get on there and listen to the outstanding auctioneers that they have on there, and look at some of the videos on there that kind of show you how they do that ranch thing out west. Superior's got their biggest week of sales too. Got the week in the Rockies coming from Loveland, Colorado this time. But Superior's week in the Rockies starts also on Monday. They do kind of stay away from each other, and one will be selling calves while the other is selling yearlings to try to stay out of each other's way, because they don't want to, as light as buying power is across the United States, we don't want to spread it any more thin than it already is. But we will establish a lot of markets for the rest of the summer green grass yearlings, and also some of your fall delivery cattle too this week, as we see those big video sales. Let's talk about last week. We just didn't see hardly anything. Your southeast was completely shut down as far as sale barns go. We did have a few high volume Monday sales, and that's about all we could really test. And that was on your Monday sales. Oklahoma City, Joplin, a few sales that had Monday sales. Most everybody was closed down, but it was steady to $4 higher. So your trend on your auction feeder cattle is really steady to $4 higher, and that includes calves also. And like I said, I think it'll likely be higher this week again as we just start seeing it. And if you can just kind of feel this thing turning a little bit, and everybody's a little more optimistic. And the one big premium sale that we did see during the holiday was Green City Livestock Market in Green City, Missouri. They had their big special. They always have one 4th of July week. They had it on Wednesday the 3rd, if you can believe that. Was hot, but the cattle always have a good way up there in a good flesh condition. I'll give you a few individual, and it's nearly all load lots, guys. That's the way Steve Evans has those producers put those cattle together. And if you guys are marketing cattle, you need to be marketing them in load lots and help those buyers out as much as you can. But pretty much all load lots of cattle there at Green City for that special. It had some Wilson steers on there, 622 pound load of those Wilson steers, always be top quality, at $164.75. The Sparks steers weighed 819 pounds there, a load of them at $142.85. And Whiskers had a couple of loads in there, or three, and weighing in the 9s, but they had a load of 916 pound steers, bring $141.10. That would be pretty outstanding quality, and that would be a premium market there at Green City, Missouri. But looking forward to getting back into a regular week and see how this market goes. But that's a look at your week's market activity from a home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.